but in addition to his musical career, Frank Zappa has recently been an outspoken critic of a movement to require content ratings for LPs. Joining us in our Washington bureau is Tipper Gore. Along with her husband, Senator Albert Gore of Tennessee, she sat down to look at some of the new horror video movies recently and did not like what she saw.
There really are a lot of studies that talk about the effects of viewing violence.
All right, Frank Zappa, a long list of studies, but Tipper used an interesting word.
But no conclusion. I think that there are a lot of things that people can see on television or in the movies that desensitize you. But the most desensitizing thing in the United States today is the Iran-Contra hearings, because that is desensitizing us to honesty, to the Constitution itself. That is an issue. This is nothing.
1984 was a pretty insane time for Twisted Sister. We were hearing bits and pieces about this Parents Music Resource Center and Tipper Gore, but not really registering. Somebody approached our office that they want, the Senate committee is having a hearing on censorship with the PMRC and wanted to know if I would come and speak. Now, my view of it, when I heard it, was they want me to carry the flag into battle. Hell yeah.
I would like to use this occasion to speak on a more personal note and show just how unfair the whole concept of lyrical interpretation and judgment can be, and how many times this can amount to little more than character assassination.
They were saying that Under the Blade was about sadomasochism and bondage. It was about my guitar player's throat operation.
Songs allow a person to put their own imagination, experiences, and dreams into the lyrics. People can interpret it in many ways. Ms. Gore was looking for sadomasochism and bondage, and she found it. Someone looking for surgical references would have found it as well.
The National Mental Health Association estimates some 14 million children.
And you think the music contributes to more of the problem?
I think the music always sets a tone for a generation.
But this is the eternal question, though, Tipper. Doesn't the music reflect what's already going on?
The thing of it is you have to swallow this as a whole thing. You got to swallow the whole pill. You listen to my album, you got to swallow the whole pill. The problem with Ice-T is I say don't do drugs, go to school, don't go to jail, love your brother, but I happen to like Freddy Krueger. If you open up a Playboy magazine, I'm going to look in it. So in other words, what I do is I show you a whole person. Everybody has a vice to them, but I show you the whole person. The problem is when you show the High Rollers video, you show the part that has nothing to do with the actual, that video was about don't be a high roller. At the end of that video, I ended up dead, you know? So, it's two sides to everything. NWA has a record that says the police. He has another record that says express yourself.
Say I was a father and my kid brought home something I really, really objected to, like a Skinhead record or a toy Uzi or even a Guns N' Roses record with those lyrics on it. I would not immediately go crawling to the phone to call the cops or call Tipper Gore. I would not put my kid in a mental hospital for the kind of music they listen to. I would not send them to some deprogramming center, blame it on the music. What I would do is sit down with the kid and say, okay, you spent your own money on this. Why? What does it mean to you? Why do you like it? Is it the tune? Is it the rhythm? Is it that cool bass player? Tell me why you like it, and I'll tell you why I don't like it. I think the most evil part of the PMRC and people like Tipper Gore and Jesse Helms is they play on the fears of parents who are too chicken to talk to their own kids.
May I be very clear that I'm strongly opposed to censorship of any kind in our society or anywhere else in the world. My song, Rocky Mountain High, was banned from many radio stations as a drug-related song. This was obviously done by people who'd never seen or been to the Rocky Mountains and also had never experienced the elation, the celebration of life, or the joy in living that one feels when he observes something as wondrous as the Perseid meteor shower. Obviously a clear case of misinterpretation. And Mr. Chairman, what assurance have I that any national panel to review my music would make any better judgment?
Her most successful album to date has been her sexiest. It's also brought the most criticism.
You think of rock and roll, it's just from the heart, it's just go for it. And if you feel sexy and raw and raunchy, be you male or female, during any particular performance or song, then that's what you do.
But we're talking about a line that's been crossed when you have a top hit that's talking about, you know, come inside my sugar walls, spend the night inside my sugar walls. That's what people, particularly parents of younger kids, are trying to address.
Artists are just saying, hey, lighten up, get off our case. This is what art's all about, is being free. And if you don't like it, then turn into something else, you know, like Go watch the news and watch violence if you don't like sexuality.
There's cancers in the society. You walk in my neighborhood, you got to step over people. There are people living in the streets. There are people starving. There's a drug problem, a huge drug problem, where like the soul of the American youth is just being eaten away. People are drinking and driving. People are dying because some asshole gets behind the wheel and drinks and kills somebody who's going home from work. You know, there's stuff like that going on that are real societal problems. And like, what's his name's wife, Albert Gore's wife, sits, I don't know where she lives, but she's sitting home going like, you know, let's see, what can I do with my life? How can I be productive? I know, I'll pick the 14,337th most important problem in America. Bad words on records.
I play for a rock band called Sleaze, and I mean, there's enough controversy on our name, more or less, than our songs. You know, we've just signed with a local record company. I don't feel there's anything objectionable about any of our songs, but I don't feel anyone else has the right to rate our songs. I mean, I'm the only one that has the right to rate, you know, my album. You don't have it.
The outrageous edge of rock and roll has shifted its focus from Elvis's pelvis to the saw protruding from Blackie Lawless's codpiece on a Wasp album.
I got this glint in my eye whenever I'm performing, which keeps people off balance where they're asking, is he or isn't he serious about this? Those people have obviously never seen that glint. I mean, how can any grown man walk around with a 12-inch saw blade between his legs and take that seriously?
How can radio stations broadcasting across the country be scared of a bunch of assholes like the PMRC? And what do you really think they're going to stop? These people would get laughed off the face of the fucking earth in England. I can't understand it.
They wouldn't last 2 days in England.
I cannot understand it. I just don't believe that anybody could attach any importance to what a bunch of shitheads like that have to say about anything.
Hey, I would be embarrassed to walk into a record store and buy a G-rated album.
By yourself?
Yes. Next thing you know, it's going to go off to its own place in the record store next to Jungle Book sound theme, you know, and then you're going to find the G-rated albums in the toy stores.
I have to tell you this, I don't know what a G rating is, and maybe you didn't understand what did happen in this agreement. There are not ratings, and they didn't push for ratings.
Okay.
What there is simply a consumer to warning, like on cigarettes. This may be harmful.
Okay, let me give you a scenario.
So tell me about ratings, because we didn't ask for that.
I'll give you a scenario, okay? If I recorded a Madonna song, okay? No, let me change it. If I recorded a song that talked about a person who was downtrodden in life, just nobody would give him a chance, and he was suicidal. If Ozzy Osbourne records it, that's offensive. But if Donny Osmond records it, it's a fact of life.